This video will show you how to load Filament into an Bambu Labs A1 or A1 mini printer with an AMS Lite system. I'm not sure what AMS stands for, but it allows you to print with multiple colors. And that's either in PLA or PETG usually. And these printers will also have a rear spool, which with the A1 is up here. With an A1 mini, it's going to be in the back here. The filament goes into this tube, which feeds it into the nozzle, not the nozzle, but this little collection thing that has the place for 4 PTFE tubes. And over here, we can see that for the rear spool, is what we have been using, and it comes down here. And so for us to be able to use the AMS system, we need to be able to transfer from the rear spool tube to the AMS tube, which is right here. And so if you're a student in one of my classes, please make sure that you ask me about this. It's easy to break the printer if you're not careful. And it's a little bit tricky, but you need to push down on this collar and then pull up on this. So I'm going to push down and then kind of give it a little bit of a yank. Again, you got to be really careful, but push down, pull up carefully. I did have to give it some tension there, but you got to be careful. So I'm going to set that to the side. I'm going to take the PTFE tube from the AMS, and I'm going to just simply push it down. Don't have to push it very far, but it kind of locks in place. I'm going to click this in here so that way it stays managed well. And then I'm going to come here to the screen. What is the difference between the rear spool and the AMS? The rear spool allows you to print flexible filament such as TPU, that is flexible. They do make TPU that is made for the AMS unit, but most of them you cannot print with the AMS. So rigid filaments like PLA and PETG we're going to use here. And again, we can have, I think, different combinations of that, definitely different colors. But this is an AMS unit. You can see that we have different spools numbered. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure why they number it that way, but that's how they do it. All right, so here on my screen, I can see that there's a filament button. I'm going to tap that. I'm going to see that I have options for the AMS. I have the external spool. We're loading the AMS, so I'm going to be on this screen. I can see that there are 4 different slots for 4 different types of filament. And you can see the number here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure why they number it that way, but that's how they number it. And you can see that it corresponds here. So you can load whichever slots you want to. It doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. It can be 1 and 4, 1 and 3, 2 and 4. It doesn't matter. I have 3 different filaments here. 2 are from Bambu Labs, and they come with a Bambu Labs spool. You can take this apart and you can put replacement filament without buying a new spool. Saves you a couple of dollars. This is generic off of Amazon. And the size of the center hole, I believe, is the same, which will make it easy to use either one of these on the AMS system or the AMS Lite system. Yeah, there are some that have a bigger hole here, and those are difficult to use with the AMS. They don't fit well. You can jerry rig something, but it doesn't work very well. So I'm going to start with maybe this white one, and you want to take snips, and you want to make sure that the end is cut at a 45-degree angle, not a 90, but a 45-degree angle, and that gives kind of a little point, makes it easier to load. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that with all of these, and then do the same thing with that one. All right. As you notice here, there are 4 different slots, and there's an edit button. However, I can't click the edit button because nothing is actually loaded. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this white one. If I look here, I have where the spool is going to go. I see that it needs to go in through this, so I'm going to put the filament going down and around so that way it comes up through that. So I'm going to take this, we're going to put it on. I'm going to try to hold this in a way that works. All right, so I'm going to slide this in, and I'm going to push it until it kind of clicks into place. And then I'm going to have this come around like that. And then you can see here that we're going into this unit. There's a hole down here. I have to make sure that I actually get it into that. And if you don't line it up right, it doesn't go in right. So I'm going to try to make this straight. And so that way it goes in and then goes where it needs to go. And you need to kind of push this down. And then once you get it fed in, a motor takes over and it starts automatically loading it up. And I can see in this tube, it has pushed it through. And it's kind of hard to see in this video here, but it probably makes it to right about there. Actually, makes it to right there. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other two. I'm going to wrap it around. I'm going to carefully put it up through this hole. I'm going to push this yellow button and kind of push it in. The motor takes over and it starts loading. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to go ahead and use number 2 right here. And I can see here that I have to go through that. So I'm going to have it come up from the bottom again. And with this cardboard spool, it's a little bit harder to get it to click in there, but I can still get it to click. I'm going to make this as straight as I can. I'm going to get it lined up there. Push this yellow button. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to get it to align properly. There we go. All right. Now if I look at the screen here, I can see that in number 1, it says PLA and it's white. And then in number 4, it says PLA and it's black. So the reason why that those automatically selected is because I believe that anyway, these spools like are kind of programmed, so that way it automatically picks it up. They have an RFID something or other. This one is generic, and it does not automatically pick it up. It has a question mark. So I'm going to tap that, and then I'm going to say Edit. And then from here, I can choose what type of filament. So it's generic. Oops. Generic. And then PLA. If it's something other than PLA, you can select that. Make sure that if it's PLA silk, you actually say that because they do have different parameters. But we're going to choose PLA, and then we can choose the color even, which helps us when it comes time to choose what part of our model we're going to have in what color. But this is the basics for loading it, and then at that point we're going to say OK. And then I think at this point we can consider it loaded.